This is something we haven't seen in decades in Japan, and it's really reflation.
Right.
So domestic companies are really finding they're rediscovering their pricing power in Japan at the moment, which we're really excited that they can improve their margins and profitability going forward.
Well, good morning, viewers, and welcome to episode 5 of Unscripted in conversation with Eastspring, where we talk about everything micro, macro, and markets. I'm absolutely delighted to have a wonderful colleague with us today who's our head of Japan Equities, heads our team that is responsible for one of our flagship strategies for Japan. Ivailo, thank you for joining us. Great to have you on the show.
Great to be here, Salman. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Wonderful, thank you. Let's walk and talk. So Ivailo, I've been speaking to a few of your colleagues. We talked about Asian equities, Asian fixed income. Increasingly, in the midst of the end of US exceptionalism, a case for Asia being made across a number of CIOs, so recently especially, and with all the tariff talk. With your insights, let's kick off first with your view around what's the investment case for Japan and why should investors really be thinking about Japan within Asia?
Thank you, Salman. So I think of Japan as a very deep and broad market. So in Japan, investors can reach really to companies from a diverse, really quality companies from a diverse industries, from semiconductors, factory automation, retail, banking, at valuations which are much, much more attractive than in the United States. So this is first point. You are reaching to very good quality companies at much more attractive valuations. Another reason we are very much excited about Japan is really the corporate governance changes that are happening in Japan. The companies are really slimming down their balance sheets. They're optimizing their business portfolios. And this really releases a lot of capital for increased returns to shareholders, but also it improves their return on equity in a very sustainable way. We think we are just in the beginning stages of this, of what's happening in corporate reform at the moment. Another point that I would like to point out is something we haven't seen in decades in Japan. It's really reflation. So domestic companies are really finding they're rediscovering their pricing power in Japan at the moment, which we're really excited that they can improve their margins and profitability going forward. So you're right, tariffs at the moment are putting kind of a damper on sentiment. But on the other hand, you have these underlying big forces that are happening in Japan that we think that at the moment, in fact, taking advantage of this kind of weak sentiment, it's a very good timing for investors to bet on these structural changes in Japan and to take advantage of them.
Fantastic. I mean, those are very, very compelling cases, Ivailo. If I may dive a little bit deeper, only because you and your team have over 2 decades of on-the-ground experience. And that's extremely important for investors and viewers to understand. When you take that 2 decade of on-the-ground experience, maybe double-clicking a little bit into some of the points that you've covered, what is the broad market perhaps missing or not seeing that you and your team are simply because of the access and the time that you spend in Japan?
I still see someone overseas asset owners thinking of Japan as this place with low GDP growth. But in fact, earnings per share growth has consistently outstripped significantly GDP growth. Also, many foreign investors look at the corporate governance reform as something transient. But we think of this corporate governance reform and the change in management thinking as something which is just at the beginning, and it has a staying power. In fact, I was meeting just recently with the chief investment officer of a major chemical company in Japan. And I could feel his passion. He said, it's my mission to really improve the returns and to unlock a lot of value for my company by transitioning from low return commodity businesses in our business portfolio to much higher growth and much higher return businesses. And this is not an isolated example. We've seen it we are seeing it in many companies and many industries. And I'm very excited about this, that it's going to drive the returns for the whole market going forward.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that to life for us, because I think those conversations, that dialogue that you and the team have is extremely important for us to think about. Let me move to the next point. We've been talking a lot with clients about thinking about Asia and thinking about active management. Comparing sort of your active approach to managing Japan equities, there could be a lot of mispriced opportunities which indices don't discover. How
Yes.
do you think about active management when it comes to Japan versus index investing?
Understand. Well, first, to take advantage of this corporate governance reform and also the pricing power in terms of reflation, you really need to look bottom up at companies. Which are the companies who can transform? Which are the companies who have a strong pricing power in a reflationary environment? But second, a lot of foreign investors, they mostly access the market through large cap index companies. And this might lead to overcrowding or higher valuation, overvaluation in these pockets of the market.
Right.
So I think in Japan, in fact, active management is very powerful because we can access a lot of mid-cap companies, mid-capitalization companies, which remain kind of below the radar for many investors, but they're very fundamentally sound, sell at very attractive valuations.
Okay.
So I think having this ability to access these companies can add a lot of alpha to an active manager.
That's fantastic. I love the conviction of Ivailo. We always move to our punchline question, which is a lot about you and your investing style. We're very proud of you and the team. How do you, just tell us a little bit about how you invest in Japan, your investing style, your investing philosophy, and the competitive edge that you and the team have.
Thank you, Salman. So our team has applied a very consistent investment process for over 20 years now in Japan. We have a very systematic way of finding materially mispriced stock across the whole universe of 2,000 plus stocks in Japan.
Wow.
We are also contrarian. We look for value in places where many people might overlook.
Yeah.
And we really focus on best ideas. We are not bound by the benchmark.
Right.
We really want to construct a portfolio of stocks where our conviction is highest and they have the biggest opportunity to provide significant alpha for our clients. Another point that I might add as well is just because we have been in this market for more than 20 years now, we've managed to create or to build very strong relationships with the corporates in Japan.
Right.
And this does give us a unique perspective or insight in their strategic thinking going forward. I think this is very powerful and matches very well with our investment process.
Absolutely. I mean, time in the market, 2 decades. It's been an amazing 2 decades. Look forward to another amazing 2 decades. Ivailo, very proud of you and the team. Thank you so much for joining us for Unscripted. I really enjoyed the conversation, love the conviction, and I wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ivailo.